Okay, we're going to continue with the vocabulary, and as I do the vocabulary, I'm going to review different points you already brought out. I'm looking now at page 40, and we basically finished words beseder, geveret, and gam, and we're now looking at page 41. The very first word of page 41, you'll notice she has the unvocalized hero, the dalid with a hyphen, and then the letter resh, identifying the word dr, doctor, and so spells out the word doctor, doctor, and you'll notice that the accent in the word doctor is the first syllable. Again, this is a borrowed word. A borrowed word will basically not follow the rules of Hebrew necessarily, and that's why she puts the emphasis on that first syllable. Doctor in Hebrew, not doctor, doctor. The letter Hey, she identifies as a definite article. Normal point to the Hey is with a patach. The three dots that follow implies the Pei is being affixed to a word that follows. If the Hey is pointed with a patach, then the word that follows, the first letter, will have dagesh chazak in that first letter. But that's not the only pointing of the Hey. We already went over it multiple times. The Hey can be pointed with a kamatz in front of the laryngeal letters, or resh. Hey is pointed with a segol in front of the laryngeal letters with a kamatz underneath the laryngeal letters. So the different pointings of the definite article. In addition to the fact, there's another Hey in Hebrew. It's called the Hey HaShe'elah, the Hey of the question. In fact, let me get that on the board right now. There are different letter Heys, if I can use that phraseology. The Hey that's the definite article, which is the interest for Edna Coffin, is what she introduces. But there is the Hey HaShe'elah, the Hey of the question. So let's get both those words on the board. The concern that Edna has is the Hey Hayadiah, of which you have the marking right there on the board, right over here. That type of Hey is called the Hey Hayadiah. The letter Hey, and then Hayadiah. Hayadiah. The pen is somewhat a little marked with water. Hey Hayadiah. Let's just get this thing better fixed. The word Hayadiah, the Hey here, the Gesh Chazak and the Yud that follows. Hey Hayadiah. The word Yadiah, the Hebrew word Yada, means to know. It means to know intimately. And so the definite article is when you use the THE to identify a specific concept. You're definitely identifying the book. It's not just any book, the apple. It's not just any apple, it's a specific apple. That's the Hey Hayadiah. Then there's the other Hey called the Hey HaShe'elah. The Hey of the question, the Hey HaShe'elah. Guess you could do it like this. Hey HaShe'elah, the Hey that raises the question. And the point of the Hey HaShe'elah is the Hey with a Chata Patach 100. The Chata Patach underneath the Hey is the Hey of the question. The regular definite article is a Patach Midika Matzo Segol. The classic example is the question asked of Cain in regard to Abel, in which you have the response of Cain, the rival brother of Abel in the story of Adam and Eve, where he says, Hashomer Achi Anochi, am I my brother's keeper? Hashomer. Just listen to how I say that word, Hashomer. If I say Hashomer, I can easily point it this way. This means the guardian, definite article. But if I raise my voice, a Hashomer is a question. Hashomer Achi, am I my brother's keeper? Hashomer. And Hebrew in the Bible is unvocalized. Did Cain say Hashomer? Or did he say Hashomer? I am my brother's keeper. He's being accused of being his brother's keeper. He's also the murderer of his brother. So I presume he would like to say, am I my brother's keeper? Do I have to watch over him? Lehi Hashelah. Okay, let's just go on now. Pens look a little different on the board. Okay, I'm looking now on page 41 right now as we continue. The words of Ani Holech. Okay, Ani Holech already is the word I walk, I go. The Ani word is the subject pronoun that is part of the grammar of this unit number 1. We will get to different forms of the subject pronoun soon. The next word, historia. Historia. Again, notice words like historia, doctor, universita. These are not Hebrew words from within, they are borrowed into the language. And historia normally is general history, it's secular history. Hebrew has a different term for religious history. Religious history is known by the last 2 books of the Hebrew Bible, Divrei Hayamim Aleph, Divrei Hayamim Bet. Divrei Hayamim. Let's take a look at that word, Divrei. First, the title of the books. In English translation, Chronicles. Divrei Hayamim. Divrei is the word in the construct, things of. Yamim are days. When we say Divrei Hayamim in a religious context, this is Jewish history, this is God, Jews, and history, which may well conflict with general history, which is historia. Then let's look at that word Divrei. We have seen that word Divrei in the singular. Let's be more specific. The word is davar. Davar by itself means a thing. T-H-I-N-G. Davar. That's the absolute form of the word. Hadavar as the definite article. That's the definite state of the noun. And then divar is the construct, word of divar. When I gave a talk about Moshe, Devar Moshe, a word about Moshe, a word of Devar Yeshua, a word about Jesus. Devar means word of. Hadavar is the word or the thing. Let's use the word thing. That's the vocalization. Now you take that word davar and make it plural. The word has 2 commences. As I make the plural, I add the chirik yud mem. I've got 3 syllables. Syllable number 1, CV. That's CV, so it appears that way. Syllable number 2 is CV. Syllable number 3 is CVC. The problem is that a kamatz is either accented or 1 place removed from the accent, as you see in davar. Accented or 1 place removed. If it's more, it reduces to shvana. So the plural of the word davar is not davarim, but divarim. And then you syllabicate the word. It's C-I-N, C-V. C-I-N, shvana, C-V. The bega careful letter following a half vowel is not plosive, it's spirant. Second syllable, long vowel, chirik. The chirik with a yud that follows a long chirik, closed syllable, irregular, is accented. So divarim is the absolute word in the plural of the word davar. Hadivarim is your definite state. And then when it comes to construct, it's divrei. The skirikid mem comes along seri. This kamatz reduced to shvana. The dalit has a chirik to break the shvach cluster. Divrei, divrei. Do you also what goes on here? When you have the construct, your emphasis is on the very next word. Things of, words of, it depends on the next word. So that kamatz underneath that vet is going to become a shvana. And the dalit originally has a shvana under it. So you have a shva cluster. And we break the shva cluster by replacing the first shva with a chirik. Divrei. And once you see this divrei, then you just break it into syllables. CVC is the first syllable, and CV is the second. Divrei. Words of, things of. That dalabit resh can mean a thing, can also be a word. As a word, we have a verb, the daber, the PL, the emphatic conjugation form in Hebrew. And when you speak, you're speaking all kinds of words. Boom, 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 boom. So there's something that deals with multitude, emphatic pronunciation when you speak of the PL, and so it goes. We'll see that when we see verbs. Okay, I now continue. So historia will be a secular word. Divrei Hayamim is religious history. The next letter is the letter Vav. The letter Vav, like the letter Hey, like the letter Bet, like the letter Lamed, is a word in English, but in Hebrew, the Vav is a letter attached to a word that follows. Meaning what? The Vav letter is the conjunction word and, A-N-D. It also has another function to it, like the Hey letter. The Hey can be the definite article, and the Hey can also be the Hey She'elah, the Hey that asks a question. For our purposes, the Vav is only used for the word and, but it's never written by itself. It's no one point to use a Vav with a Shva attached to the word that follows. And then there are problems. What if the word that follows has a Shvana in the first letter? There will be a Shva cluster, and you break the cluster by pointing the Vav as a Shurk. Ooh. And so it goes on with other forms. I'm just thinking now to give another example. We better not give all the examples right now. Just think of the Vav normally pointed with a Shvana. And if it's affixed to a verb that has a Shvana under it, you point the Vav as U. And if the word that follows has the Aleph Ayin, Hey, Chet, and it has one of the Chatafim, the Vav would take over the sound of the Chataf. Whether it's Chataf Patach, Chataf Sego, Chataf Kamatz. So there are two Vavs in Hebrew. One is the Vav of conjunction, which is called the Vav of Chibur. That's the word Vav, Ha, Chibur. The word Chibur is composition. And the other one is the Vav of Hipuch. Hipuch. This is more biblical Hebrew. Vav of Hipuch. Let's just get it done properly. Right. My hay is coming across so silly. That happens when you have a verb and the verb precedes it, converts the verb from the future to the past. That's a bit of hay. Question is, you put a hamatz here, the hay layer cannot be doubled, or you leave it as a patach. If you leave it as a patach, then you say it is potentially closed. The Vav HaKippur is particularly shown in the Bible when you have God speaks to Moses. Vayidaber, the pointing of the Vav with a patach. The verb is in the future. The translation is in the past tense. This is called the Vav of conversion. It converts the future into the past. In Hebrew, it's called the Vav HaKippur. The Vav of conjunction, the word and by itself, without converting verbs, is the Vav HaKippur. Okay, we're getting into a lot of stuff right now. It gets a little messy because so much that's being poured into this. Anyway, she has the Vav pointed with a regular Shvanah. Then you have the words Tov and Todah. Tovah, rather. The word Tov is a Hebrew word for good, and Tovah is a Hebrew word for good. One is masculine singular, and the other is feminine singular. And the plural forms are Tovim and Tovot. Look at the Lamed, has a Shvanah, has a Patach. With a Patach, it's the Lamed affixed to a word, has a definite article in front of it. The definite stated noun, where the hay is pointed with a Patach. If it's appointed to an indefinite state of a noun, the normal pointing to the Lamed is a Shvanah, unless there's Shva clusters. But she doesn't go into all that. She just gives you two examples, like the Bi and the Ba, and the Lit and the La. Again, with the Shvanah, it's a regular pointing before an indefinite noun. With a Patach, it is a pointing before a definite noun based on the following. The definite article has a Patach under it, gets stricken out by the Lamed and by the Bet. That's a phenomenon we haven't seen yet. The word La'an is a word where to. Again, every one of these words seem to have multiple meanings. La'an is the word where in the sense of location. La'an, La'an atolech, where are you going? The other word for where in Hebrew is ephod. Ephod. Ephod, where in a sense of location. I want to go back to that La word. The Lamed, let's just give an example. Lamed is to, for, of, etc. If I say the word book, Sefer, to a book, the Sefer, the accent is on that first syllable. If I want to say to the book, I have HaSefer. I add the Lamed. The Lamed is no point with a Shvanah, strikes out the hay, takes over its vowel. La Sefer, to the book. Okay. Going back to our Hebrew right now. The word lo, is that it? The word lo with an aleph. Between the word la and la'an, I skipped that word lo. Lo means no or not. But there are several words in Hebrew that imply no or not. Let's give you one example. The word owl, spelled with an aleph, not owl spelled with an ayin. Owl spelled with an ayin means on. Owl spelled with an aleph is the word no, but it's not a permanent type of no. When you have the word spelled with an aleph like this, lo, this is permanency. Classic example, the Ten Commandments. Lo tirtzach, lo tignov. Not with the word lo, implying under no circumstances are you to murder, steal, stuff like that. There's another word, asur. Asur means prohibited. There are different multiple words that imply negative behavior, but lo is permanency. All right, we're going to continue the hitraot. So we talked about that word already, to see one another. It's also a characteristic way of saying goodbye when you're going to see somebody again. The hitraot, see one another. The word ani lomed, that's your verb lomed, subject pronoun is I. It's masculine singular. If the ani is a feminine word implied, then the verb will give it away. We'll say lomedet. Ma, that word we talked about already. There's a different point. These are the mem letter. The word moreh and the word morah. Both words translated as teacher. One is masculine, the other is feminine. She doesn't bother to show that in our unvocalized Hebrew. Moreh is the masculine word teacher, and morah is feminine. And again, go over the rules. A word ending with kamatse most probably will be a feminine singular word. The word memshalah. All of a sudden, with memshalah, she shows the gender. She puts the letter nun in brackets. Look at the unvocalized Hebrew. The word memshalah ends with a kamatse, normal sound and feminine singular. Make it plural. Replace the kamatse with cholam tav. The cholam tav ending words are feminine plural. The chirikid mem ending words are masculine plural. Then you have the four forms of the feminine singular, and there's no special syllable at the end that implies a masculine singular. Do it by deduction. If it's not the four feminine, if it's not the two masculine and feminine plural, then everything else will be masculine singular. So goes deduction. I look at that word memshalah. Let's just talk about that word memshalah. There are a number of words which I select out. Why so? Because of the prominence of the word, because of different meanings that can be associated with the root of the word, and so it goes on. Memshalah is government. Breaking it into syllables, it is CVC, it's CV, and CVC. 3 syllables. First one has a short segol, closed by the shvanachal the mem. Second one has a kamatz, open syllable, miu vowel, can be open or closed. As if, the miu kamatz is either one place removed from the accent or accented. And sure enough, the accent is on the last syllable of the word. With that C at the end, miu at the memshalah, the hey at the end is a vowel marker. From that word memshalah, you have the word government. You have the word rulership. R-U-L-E, to rule. The other word that you find is Medina. Medina is state, S-T-A-T-E. This is the verb to govern. This is the word din, law. Medina has the root Daled Yud Nun. The word translates as law. A Dayan is a judge. With the irony, a Dayan is a religious judge in Israel. A Dayan. Watch what I'm doing. If Medina is the word for state, and its judges are called Dayanim, but that word Dayan is a religious judge. A Shofet, on the other hand, is a secular judge. And then you have the word Moshel. It's another word. To rule, R-U-L-E. Take that word Medina by itself is an absolute word. Medina is the state. And then you have Medinat. Let's make it better up here. Medina is state. Medina, the state. Notice how I pronounce it, Hamdina, not Hamdina. It's a hey patach closed by the first mem, which is doubled. Ham, and then the mem starts again, the second syllable, Hamdina. And then you have the construct, Medinat. Medinat means state of. And let's take another word, the word Memshalah. Memshalah. Medina is the word for state, and Memshalah will be the word for government. And watch what's going to happen right now. There are exceptions on exceptions on exceptions. With the word Medina, you have the root for the word judge, which is a religious judge in Israel. The Dayan. The word Memshalah. Let's write it down carefully. Memshalah. Memshalah is state number 2, the definite article. Memshalah. And then the third one is Memshilat.
That's the three states of the noun?
Yes. Memshilat. Not Memshalat or something like that. Medinat. The Kamatse is all of a sudden a single time. Memshilat. How come? That's the way it is. So when it comes to a construct of a word, normally you can tell what it is depending upon what the absolute form looks like with the end. The Kamatse becomes Pataktav. But there are exceptions. Memshilat is a good example. Okay, we're looking at page 41. Every word is giving me some more ideas. Well, we have the word Memshalah here, so Memshalot. This is already the absolute form. So Memshelet will be government of. All right, the word for Mr. is Mar. Notice the spelling, Memresh. It's nothing more than a transliteration of MR. But the word Mar itself can also be confused with bitter. Bitterness, Maror. I would not be surprised if the word Mar, as Mar, is the word bitter. Maror is the normal word for bitter. And Mar by itself, as she points out, is nothing more than transliterating the MR and MH for the word Mr. Student and studentit. Again, the words are borrowed. Masculine singular, student. Feminine singular, studentit. And notice what she shows you. The accent is over the second to last syllable. Studentit, not studentit. Studentit. And then we make a distinction. In Hebrew, the word student is from class beyond to the 12th grade, college and higher. Otherwise, you're Talmid and Talmidah. Sefer and Sfarim, the word for book. Sefer also has multiple meanings. Sefer can also mean a manuscript. Before there's a printed Bible, the word Sefer Torah, Sefer Torah. To this very day, Jews was referred to the Torah scroll as Sefer Torah. Not book published, but a manuscript handwritten. So Sefer, same word goes through multiple meanings depending upon the age that you're referring to. That happens with all the languages. A word will take on another meaning due to the age in which that you're referring to. All right, the next word is avodah. As you look at that word avodah, the translation she gives you is the word for work. But avodah has multiple meanings to it. Let's get down that word avodah. First, the spelling of the word. Word ends with a kamatse, son of the feminine. The word avodah by itself is the absolute form. The definite state of the noun, you add your hey. The hey is going to have a kamatz under it due to the laryngeal letter, which cannot take a dagesh chazak if the hey's normal point of a patah was found. That's why the patah becomes a kamatz. As far as the construct goes, you take the kamatz and make it a patah tav. Avodat means work of. Now the root of that word, ayin bet dalet. That same root spells out the word eved. Eved is a servant, or normally translates as a slave.
That's where is it Eved or Oved? So after the 8 years of being a slave, they put their year to year. Is it
Yeah.
Oved or Eved?
Eved. It's interesting that the word for work has the root that gives us the word, for our purposes, a slave or servant even.
And in Hebrew, how would you say indentured servant?
One second. When you see a singular noun like that, you think of singular nouns. Think of the word yeled. The plural of the word is yeladim. Make this word. Is the plural of evedim? No. It's a singular noun. The ayin cannot take a shvana. The ivadim is okay. The ayin converts the shvana to hatapatach. Avadim. Avadim. Let me just play with this now. Avadim is the plural of the word eved. Now, what about slaves of? Watch what happens. The chirik mem becomes a long tzere. The kamatz is now several places removed from the accent. The accent will be on the next word, slaves of Egypt or whatever. So this kamatz is going to reduce to shvana. The chatapatach is a chatapatach. That's a shvana as well. And so you break the shva cluster by pointing the ayin with a patach. And you read the word as avdei. It really was a chatapatach at first. not a true vowel. This is a light vowel. It's a Noakala. It's a special type of vowel. It's a schwa that becomes a vowel. Avde.
What do you call the schwa that becomes like a hearing? Like B in Jerusalem? Same concept?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. If you want to see it that way. My point is there are two shvanas. Let's try it again. Let's just do it properly. I'll take the word Eved by itself. Eved is the absolute form of the word. Ha-Eved is the definite state. Notice I'm pointing to Hey with a midu kamatz because the iron letter cannot take a dagesh chazak. The patach increases the midu vowel. The construct of the word Eved is the same as the absolute. So Eved by itself could either be a slave or a slave of. The plural. You see the singular noun? Yevadim, the shvana cannot be taken by the ayin, replaces it with a chatapata. Avadim. Ha-avadim is a definite state. And then let's do it right. The avide. Avide. The accent is the next word, slaves of. The chatapata with a shva. In other words, two shvaim. There's a chatapata like a shvana, followed by a shvana, or followed by a shvanach, whatever you want to call it. What you actually have are two shvas. The chatapata replaces shvana. That's going to be a cluster as well. So we have the final form of patach. It's forcing a vowel into being. What you're thinking already is a letter Yud, like in Yerushalayim. Adding the llama to it. Shvana is the shva is the normal pointing of a letter. A shva cluster. You break it by pointing the chirik, and you go one step further and dropping the shvana underneath it. So it goes into a long vowel. So you want to see a comparison, I guess you can do that. But what's interesting, when you write the word avdei, if this were truly a shvanach, this was truly a patach, then I should have a dagesh cow in the dollars. I doubt very much if the dictionary has the word avdei. If it has a dagesh in that dollar, then the patach underneath the ayin is a true vowel. If it doesn't have a dagesh in that dollar, then the patach is a superficial vowel. Superficial. Like the soul of patach.
Superficial is
Let me just find something. What we're raising now, Baruch, are questions nobody asked.
yeah, no, this is very good. I'm seeing it. That this was like you didn't go into this, so when you're able to like just
Well, sure.
reach into the depths of your wisdom, you're able to but the question becomes how to communicate that to the people and build that knowledge who are not at that same level. That's the challenge there.
Okay, it has the word Evid Avadim. It doesn't bother with the construct of the. Okay, I didn't think it would.
We're at 40 minutes. How long do you want to go today? It's up to you. for the second part.
I'll figure it out. So,
Okay, no problem. You just let me know.
okay. Anyway, the word Avdei. What will be interesting again, if you see the word Avdei, again, Israelis don't write with vowels. If they do write with vowels, it would be nice to see if they put a negation at Dalet. If they do, then this is a true Shvanach, and that's a true vowel Patach. If they don't, then that's a clear sign that this is artificial. It is artificial because originally it should be a Shvanach. Yeah, let me just take it to the end of the vocabulary here.
No, no problem.
Okay. No, I know it's a lot.
So it's just, I'm just trying to, find what's comfortable for you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I'm looking still at this page here, the word avodah. Yeah, I'm not finished with avodah. Avodah is also the word for service, service, and more specifically, religious service. So what am I getting at? The word avodah is work. The word work has multiple implications. And for many Jews, this brings in a problem. The word for idolatry, false religion, false worship, is called avodah zarah. The word used is avodah. The word zar, zarah, feminine singular, means strange, strange work. That's the Hebrew phrase for our purposes, idolatry. It literally means a strange service. Interesting. Centuries ago, a different religion was called Avodah Zarah, which meant the work that you did, the ritual that you did, the prayers that you did were strange to us. They were foreign. Avodah Zarah. Same word as the word for work. Okay, as I continue to end the page with these words, the next word is Ivrit. Ivrit itself, you'll notice she has a letter nun here. What she doesn't tell you is that the word Ivrit is an adjective. It's not really a noun. And that's going to be a problem. Let me make this very clear. The word Hebrew.
What's it modifies or describes software? Is that what Hebrew is? Because usually an adjective is a descriptive.
Descriptive?
Well, what is an adjective?
An adjective describes something, yes. But the word Hebrew, the way she lists it here, it looks like a noun. The word Ivrit is not a noun, it's an adjective. You cannot tell that the way she writes out that
Can
word.
it be used as a noun?
No, it cannot. Let me explain what's involved. In fact, it will be a good way to end the hour. First of all, the word Ivri. Ivri is both a noun and adjective. Ivri is a noun, and Ivri, a Hebrew boy. Ivri is an adjective, as in Sefer Ivri, a Hebrew book. The word feminine is Ivriya. Ivriya is the noun. Ivriya. A Hebrew girl is an Ivriya. A Hebrew woman is an Ivriya. As an adjective, the word would be Ivrit. Ivrit can only be used if it's modifying a noun, as in Safa Ivrit. Ivrit is basically modifying the word language. There are two words for language in Hebrew. One is Safa, and the other one is Lashon. Safa is what's implied when we say any language, Ivrit, Anglit, Sarfatit, Sfaradit. This is an adjective. The noun is Ivriya. In the case of the masculine singular, Ivri is both adjective and noun. Let's go into the plural. The plural, ivrim, is the noun, and ivriim, this is masculine now, ivriim is the adjective. In the case of the feminine, it's just one word, ivriot. Ivriot is both noun and adjective. She doesn't bother to even imply that. I'm saying it to you. So we don't use the word safa, but it's understood that all names of languages are adjectives modifying the word safa. And then finally, the last two words on this page, ani oved, that's the verb already. The word ani by itself could be male or female, but the oved gives it away to be masculine. And then finally, the word oseh, I do or I make. These are verbs that we'll look at later. We'll go into verbs and grammar. Okay, I think we'll end it right now, and then we'll continue on Thursday.